Welcome to Bowerfold, home of Stalybridge Celtic Football Club, for the official launch of the Stalybridge Celtic Foundation. And thanks to Phil Brennan over there, we've got a little strapline, a football club that's more than just 4 stands and a pitch. Okay, so Stalybridge Celtic is active 7 days a week, 364 days a year. We have Christmas Day off. Okay, so it's not just for playing football for the first team. Okay, so we do quite a lot more. So we have our charitable status, a number that's etched in my head, 1173057. We achieved that a couple of months ago, but just getting everything settled and sorted, we decided to have the launch today. We were going to invite you all to watch the first team, but because of our fixture schedule, we're not playing until the 23rd of December, so didn't want you hanging on that long, and perhaps people will be out Christmas shopping, so we ditched that idea. So just a bit of housekeeping first of all. There's no planned fire drills, so if one goes off, let's panic and go out the fire escapes. There's one there, there's one at the back of the door, through that door, and there's one there, and we assemble outside on the car park, outside main reception. Toilets are just through that door, ladies is on the left, gents is straight ahead. Access to the pitch, we're going to go out and see our walking footballers here in the nice bowler blue and white kits, and our disability team, some of them are over there. The rest of them wanted to go out in the cold and look around on the pitch while they have the chance. So when we go out onto the pitch, we're going through this door, and it's the first left up the stairs, and just take a seat in the stand. Okay, so if you've got any mobile phones, please could you turn them to silent, and we can crack on. This here, by the way, is a nice little Lego building of Bowerfold. Very nice, very unique, never seen it before. So introductions, I'm Mike Smith, the Community Development Officer here at Stalybridge Celtic. We've got our Chair of Trustees, Gerald Crossley here. We've got Brian Coll over there, Mary Gibbons and Paul Batty, who are trustees. We've got one trustee missing today who sends her apologies, which is Jane Nelson. Okay, so before we go on, I'm just going to hand over to Gerald, who wants to say a couple of words. Gerald?
Hi, right. Good morning. Thank you very much for coming here this morning. Mike's done a bit of a brief introduction and taken one or two of the words that I was going to say, but what I really want to say is in 2014 the football club applied for funding to the then conference for funding for whatever we can do in the community, and with the assistance of Sue O'Brien, who now is running that for the National League, we received funding in 2014 for a part-time community development officer. The guy we employed was Mike Smith. He worked for a long time doing the same role at Stockport County, and when he applied for the job, really there was nobody else to his standard to do it. And since that time, 2014, we obtained additional funding, again from the National League, to employ Mike on a full-time basis. Now Mike has been here now into his 5th year, and he has done a tremendous job. It's through his efforts and his work and his commitment and his passion, getting out into the community, getting involved with local projects, local schools, local clubs, local communities, in showing what the football club can do in the community. And he has driven that for the 4 years, and it's through his efforts and the time that he put in that we are here today because of that. And basically, that's all I want to say. We are a good football club, we are a very good community-based organisation, but this guy has put the work in, and he's been the main driving force to getting us where we are today. So I'd like to hand over to Mike. He can show you his presentation outlining what the foundation has done these past 4 years. Okay, Mike, it's all yours.
Oh, rather welling up there, got a lump in my throat. Thanks, Gerald. We did get that on camera, didn't we? Excellent, thank you. So as you can see, we've got some of our disability team here today. We've got Jonathan, Sam, Gavin over there, and the rest of them are out on the pitch. Like I say, I'll tell you a bit more about them in a couple of minutes. So we've got a very important guest. We've got Sue O'Brien from the National League Trust. The National League Trust are the main funders of Stalybridge Celtic Foundation. Their set up to look after the clubs in the Conference Premier, National League North, National League South. Thankfully, we were in the National League North when we were awarded our 2-year grant in March. We're now in the Evo Stick League, so we need to get back up to the National League North to apply for our next tranche of funding. So after I've bored you senseless, Sue will come up and tell you a little bit more about the National League Trust and how it's funded and what it delivers nationally to the non-league clubs in the pyramid. Okay, so what do? We've got 4 strap lines, so we like to base our projects around health, inclusion, education and participation. So those are 4 themes we're looking to drive the foundation forward. So from Vintage Celtic, who have an over 50s team, an over 60s team, through to our Active Goals School programme, where we deliver things to primary schools and secondary schools. Our £5 fresh air football, which we understand that people in the town, people in the borough, are going to go and support those 2 teams up the road. We play in red and blue. But what we're trying to do is get them having Stalybridge Celtic as their second team. So when we go out promoting the £5 fresh air football, the hook is come and watch your local football team. Football's played in the fresh air, not just on the telly, and come and cheer your local team on. So we do that by way of a nice little ticket. So if you get one of our £5 fresh air tickets, you can take it to McDonald's up in Hattersley, get yourself a free Happy Meal. So obviously we're promoting healthy eating there, but everything in moderation. When the kids come along to Stalybridge Celtic, they get a nice autograph sheet, so they can go around. All our players and staff are easily accessible. So if you go to Old Trafford, you're very unlikely to meet Paul Pogba, Mourinho, people like that. But at Stalybridge Celtic, you can meet people like Dave Pover over there, our physio, who signs in the little box. And you've got 10 boxes to go around and get all the signatures. Our secretary, Michael Beach, insisted. He sent me about 20 emails. Please, can you put my name on there? So people asking for autographs during the day. So the kids are challenged to get those autographs. They record the score, the attendance. So we want to make it fun and enjoyable for them. So they go home having a good experience of Stalybridge Celtic and forgetting about the 5-0 defeats. So that's the fresh air football. We're doing some girls development where we run monthly leagues for girls, match day activities. We've got Mike and Nick over there from the juniors who apply different age groups to be ball boys, mascots on the day. We do some half-time entertainment with them. And we've got our adult disability team. So such is the success of the disability team. We now have 2 teams that compete every month, so they're doing really well. So like with everything, we can't do everything ourselves. So we have a multi-agency approach where we like to work with different organisations to help promote football and our work in the community. So that's just an example where we teamed up with It's Not OK, Tameside, child sexual exploitation, to promote their message. Hopefully going forward we'll do some more work with them in schools, some practical delivery in schools there. So like I say, the adult disability team, we have 21 players in the squad. They train every week at Ashton Sixth Form College at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday. I've got myself the night off tonight because they're training on the pitch now at 11 o'clock, brilliant. And they play in the Cheshire East Ability Counts League, which I was instrumental in setting up in my Stockport County days, and that goes on once a month over at Aquinas College in Stockport. The Blues here, that's me there, taking the picture. The Blues are second from top, as a division of 6, and the Whites, don't be fooled that they've got pink on, but the Whites there are 4th from top. Okay, and they play every month and do quite well. Okay, we're also on the Cheshire East Ability Counts committee with the Cheshire FA, so the Stalybridge Celtic, all 21 of them have a say in the league, and any concerns they have I can feed them back to the committee and we can look to put those right. Okay, as I mentioned, the walking football team, very kindly sponsored by Bowler over in Duckingfield. We've had just over 100 participants playing in our sessions over the last 2 years, such is the popularity of walking football. We have social events as well. What we're trying to do with our walking football programme is deliver the sessions and cater for those who just want to play an hour's football. They just want to play an hour's football at a much slower pace. And that's it, off they go. We cater for those who want to come and play a little bit more competitively and represent Vintage Celtic. Great name, I'm sure you'll all agree. So we have sessions on a Monday night and sessions on a Wednesday night. Where's Bill? Bill here. Bill Murney, he does quite a lot of the Vintage Celtic work and was instrumental in setting up the Over 60s Monthly League, which Tony got a blue card in, and so did Paul, but we won't mention that. So we're playing the Over 60s League, which we're back in on Friday. Where in the league are we, Bill? Fourth. Okay, and we used to play in the Cheshire Walking Football League, which was run by the Cheshire FA, and again, up until recently, we were on the committee at the Cheshire FA, helping to shape walking football across the borough. So the FA were a bit slow to develop walking football, but Cheshire FA were quite proactive and wanted to put some structure to it, and we played our part in putting some rules and structure to walking football in Cheshire. And we've got, in our just over 2 years, we've managed to put 13 trophies in the cabinet through various festivals and leagues and tournaments. So yeah, that's the walking footballers. And I'm now going to introduce Dave Broxton from our sponsor Bowler, who very kindly say a few words on behalf of their sponsorship and walking football.
Morning everyone. Very proud to be here today, and we're very proud to sponsor Vintage Celtic. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes boring you with what we do over in Duckinfield, but we're a comparatively small business. And you'll tell from the accent that I'm not a local lad. I'm not even that fond of football, having supported West Bromwich Albion for 50 years. But suffice to say, my introduction to Stalybridge Celtic was that I live in Saddleworth now, and a few pals said on one particular weekend when the internationals were being played, let's go and watch a non-league club. So we came here, and it was last season FC United were playing here, and to be honest, Stalybridge Celtic got thumped, but we had a fantastic time, a really warm atmosphere, met people in the clubhouse, very, very friendly. And I instantly felt that this was something that we could support as a local business. So corporate and social responsibility is a box you tick when you're in business. That often it's easy just to send a cheque and not get involved, and I would like to have done that, but unfortunately Mike Smith wouldn't let me. I had to come here and I had to have the chip inserted, and he spent about an hour without pausing for breath, telling me all the wonderful things that the community side of the club were doing. All about inclusion and the way that the community side of the club was out there serving the community irrespective of race, gender, disability. And at the end of all this, I almost felt as passionate about, I say almost because I don't think anyone's as passionate as him, but I almost felt as passionate about it as Mike did. And we're on board, and I'm looking forward to being on board for a long time, because one of the things that I think that the Community Foundation here does is it's like a force multiplier for the money. If you give £500 to a big charity, you never really know what value that has and where that money works. But if you give an amount of money to this Community Foundation, then it doesn't matter whether it's £60 for a minibus or the money's being worked and the value is being taken out of the money, and it's going to good use. So that's it from me really. We're very proud to be associated with the foundation, and wish it every success. And I'd like to thank Mike again for getting us involved.
Thank you very
Cheers.
kindly. We might have a little fallout tomorrow as our teams are playing each other tonight, mightn't we, Dave? Our second teams.
Yeah, the casting check yet?
Yeah. Okay, thank you very kindly. So, apart from our disability team, the walking football team, another thing we get involved in is our Active Goals Schools programme. We've just recently launched it over in Glossop, over the hill. So the 14 primary schools over there can get involved in the work we do. So we do after school sessions. We do after school sessions just for girls. We do Key Stage 1 after school sessions. Anything and everything that the school needs, really. It's not a case of we go in and say this is what we can do. It's what does the school need and how can we fit in. So we work well with the after school sessions, predominantly in Stalybridge and Ashton, but across Tameside as well, and hopefully we'll pick up one or two over in Glossop. We do assembly visits as well, where we promote the £5 fresh air tickets, so that the head teachers let me in there to talk to the children. So if I go into child mode, you know, that's why, because I'm used to doing assemblies. We've done some PPA sessions, which is teachers' non-contact time with the children. We've got a big work placement programme going on, so we have work placements from the Prince's Trust, who are here today, and West Hill School, who are here with us as well. So we get their students and make them work basically for 2 weeks. They don't stuff envelopes or make brews. They experience working at a football club and working out in the community. We do schools tournaments, so this was our Harry Dennison tournament, named after Stalybridge Celtic's record goal scorer. So 9 out of the 10 primary schools in Stalybridge came along and had the opportunity to play on the pitch, and the winners were Staley Hill, just up the hill. So that's something we do on an annual basis. We realise that not every child, not every student wants to kick a football around. It might not be very sporty, so rather than just ignoring them and they don't get any contact with Stalybridge Celtic, we do various competitions, and that last photo over there is something we did around Mother's Day. So we did a Design a Mother's Day card competition. So our printers, Petch printers, if you need any printing, Petch printers in Stalybridge, absolutely fantastic. They did 2,000 templates for a card. So every child in every school, Key Stage 2, had a card. So they designed the front cover. So everyone took a Mother's Day card home. And then each school produced a winning card, and we took it down to the florists in Stalybridge, Four Seasons florist. If you need any flowers, get yourself down to there. And they donated a massive bouquet of flowers, so the winning school, that winner could present their mum with a big bouquet of flowers on Mother's Day. And the other school winners got a smaller bouquet. But that's something that we didn't involve balls, bibs and cones, and it's something different. So we're looking to do other competitions, such as a young journalist competition around the World Cup next year, write a report on a World Cup match, and various other things to get people involved. One of our season ticket holders, Stuart Valentine, designed these logos. He's our match day poet. So we're looking to do something around poetry in schools. So those of you who are regulars to Bowerfold on match day, you'll see in the lounge and in the programme there's a match day poem. So we have a different piece of poetry every game. So it goes up on the home dressing room. The players are meant to read it and be inspired by it and motivated by it. But I think by the time the first player gets in, I've not put enough blue tack on and it's fallen down, they don't see it. So charity support, we've got Karen over there from Believe and Achieve Trust, and those of you who came in top door would have seen Max the Monkey welcoming you all in. So we do some charity work as well, so bucket collections on match days for organisations like Home Start Host, Rubens Retreats, Believe and Achieve. This picture here, the FA Charity Shield that's held at Wembley on the curtain raiser for the football season, if you like. All the money from that match is distributed to football clubs all the way down the pyramid. And at our level, Stalybridge Celtic were lucky enough to be awarded £2,000 from the FA, which Michael Beach threw in my direction, and we distributed it between Believe and Willowwood Hospice. So again, that's the football club putting something back into different charities in and around the town. Now that we've got our charitable status, we can claim that £2,000 herself. Sorry, Karen, next season. But also, we've done some work with the Citizens Advice Bureau. We've got Councillor Jackson there who came along to our food bank, where we worked with the Citizens Advice, our supporters and staff and officials and the away supporters, donated some food items. They were all collected on a match day, and then on a Monday piled in my car, and off we went down to the Citizens Advice to top up their food bank for their food bank referral system. So we're looking to get that set up again and help the vulnerable people in and around Stalybridge. So that's just a few of the organisations we work with, we have worked with, we're looking to work with. So as I said before, multi-agency approach, can't do everything ourselves, myself and the trustees, so we look to work with different organisations to deliver our 4 core values that I mentioned earlier. So for example, Manchester Camerata, they came in and did a Tameside opera for people over 60. So they came in here and wrote a play, some poetry, and did the performance at the Bridgewater Hall. So that was a nice one-off unique project to get involved with. FC United of Manchester, when I first started, we did an employability course for young people to get them back into work over at the Ken Ward Centre. Tickets for Troops, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Celtic Juniors, like I say, they get involved on match day. The McDonald's with their free Happy Meals, as you can see, I've had a couple. Seeing as though I've got all the £5 fresh air tickets, I can just whip in and get me dinner. The NHS, we did a Get Fit challenge with the NHS, so we're hoping to get some funding. We did a pilot project for 8 weeks, of which Tony, one of our walking footballers, came along to it. And that was aimed at getting males fit and healthy and giving them some better healthy lifestyle choices. So every Thursday night we'd come in, open up here, and you did some quite intense circuit training in here, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a one-to-one appointment with the NHS staff, and we went out onto the pitch and did some light exercise. So that went on for 8 weeks. We've got the bid all written up now, so now it's just trying to find, now we're a charity, we can look to find the right funder that will fund that going forward, and hopefully we'll be able to roll out 4 of those projects over the course of the year. People First Tameside, they were instrumental in helping us, working with us to get the referrals for our disability team, so we're thankful to them. Cheshire FA are a major partner in our delivery of walking football and disability football. So yeah, and Phil here is from the non-league magazine, so as you're all interested in non-league football as you're here, get yourself onto the non-league Twitter page and catch up with everything going on in and around non-league football. So She Scores is the name of our girls development programme. It started off as just a tournament, a one-off tournament, and it migrated into a monthly league. So we have approximately 150 girls playing in the tournament. It's for under 11s, so year 5 and 6. There's plenty of opportunities for the boys to get involved in competitive football, but not so many for the girls, which is getting a lot better. So we've run that for the past 3 years. 2017 might actually go into 2018, but we've got 3 school winners. What we do is we have heats in different areas, and then all the winners go to a playoff, and then the playoff winners come to finals day on the pitch here. So we have the semi-finals before kick-off, and then we have the final at half-time. So everyone gets to come and watch the first team, get the match day experience, play on the pitch, and win some trophies. So what we're going to do in the future. So like I say, hopefully get some funding for the Get Fit Challenge. Walking football tournament at Bowerfold, because there's plenty of walking football teams in and around Greater Manchester now, so there's more than enough to invite down. We're going to start doing some car boot sales on the car park, so that'll be some much needed income for us and revenue, and a good community event, so we'll get those. We used to do them a couple of years back, but they sort of like came to an abrupt halt, so we're looking to get that done. We've got the juniors, so from the juniors to the academy, we've got Dave Sullivan over there, our head of academy, to the first team, to the disability team, to the walking footballers. So from 5, is it you start, Nick, at the juniors, Mike? 5 all the way up to our 84-year-old walking footballer. There's something at Stalybridge Celtic, some team, some training you can get involved with, apart from girls and ladies. So Dave across at the academy is well on the way to setting up an academy for girls next year. So we want to get a community girls and ladies team up and running. So that's on my to-do list. So might have a crack at that tomorrow. Staley Sixes, corporate six-a-side tournament. We're going to be running that on the pitch. So hopefully that will be seen as a way that employers can put a team in to encourage team bonding and things like that. And we've also got Mark across at the back with his two cameramen there filming away from the community scheme, which is a monthly prize draw. So again, we're going to be launching that out into the community where people can sign up for a monthly prize draw, and again that will bring income and revenue into the foundation. The National League Trust, we are running 2 national competitions, so each club is tasked with setting up a local competition to find a winner to represent their football club in the area finals. So last year we had the boys one, of which St Raphael's on Huddersfield Road were the winners, represented Stalybridge Celtic down at the area finals in Stockport. Unfortunately it didn't win through, but the winner on the day gets a place in the final, which is held at Wembley Stadium just before the playoffs. So this year the National League Trust have introduced a girls only tournament, so we can run 2 of those, and they'll be run in January, February next year, and then hopefully we can get a Stalybridge Celtic team to Wembley. And again in January, with the help of Bill from Vintage Celtic and Keith, we're looking to run a pilot walking football programme with Pennine Care NHS Trust. So rather than just get people into walking football who've never experienced it, similar to the Get Fit Challenge, we'll do something where they get a gentle introduction to the benefits of walking football, and hopefully at the end of the 8 weeks they'll filter into the Vintage Celtic team. So like I say, tickets for troops, again we've teamed up with our armed forces, so any member, current or ex-members of the armed forces, can access free tickets to come and watch the first team. So they do that by signing up to the Tickets for Troop websites with all their ID and everything, and they can come along and watch. So that's quite successful with the armed forces coming along. Tickets are available every game. Oop. So, how do you get back?
Left arrow.
Left arrow. Thank you, Mr. Beach. Social media, so you can keep up to date with what we're doing in and around the community. You don't have to pick the phone up and ask me. We've got 3 Facebook pages. We've got a general one, we've got one for the disability team, and we've got one for Vintage Celtic. And we're on Twitter as well, so at Community Staley, and Walking Football, courtesy of Bill, have got their own Twitter handle at Blue Vince. And we've also got our website, Stalybridge Celtic Foundation UK, and there is a section on community on the main club website. So before I hand over to Sue and the walking footballers and everyone go out, we have got an information pack for you. So when we go outside to watch the footballers come back in, we'll have a chance to do question and answers, but you'll all get an information pack with various bits and bobs in. And courtesy of Petch Printers down in Stalybridge, they've very kindly printed the full presentation off, so you can take one of those away with you. So, like I say, that's the Stalybridge Celtic Foundation in 20-25 minutes. So that's what we do locally. So I'm pleased to announce we've got Sue O'Brien from the National League Trust, who will tell you all about how the National League Trust operates and what it does nationally. So I'll just hand you over to Sue.
First of all, thank you very much for all coming today. It's fantastic to see so many people here from such a wide range of organisations and partners. And I'm sure you'll agree it's a great testament to Mike's work that we're here celebrating the launch of the foundation today. So I'd just like to start by thanking Mike on behalf of the National League Trust for all the work he's done here. So who are we? The National League Trust, we're also a charity. This basically summarises what we do. We're funded by the Premier League and the PFA. At the moment, we're in receipt of 1.2 million a year, and we use that funding to encourage the development of community programmes like this one at clubs in the National League. And I say encourage because nothing we do is compulsory. It's entirely up to the clubs to decide whether or not they want to go down this route. Obviously, we want as many of them as possible to enjoy the benefits of having a successful community programme, but we're there to give them advice and to hold their hands and to walk them through the process. So we were created in July 2010, purely by chance. You'll remember when Setanta had the television contract for the football conference and went bust, and a lot of clubs within the Premier Division of the conference had banked on getting that money in for that season, and it wasn't there. So the board of the conference went to the Premier League, because they're the only people with any money, and said, will you give us a solidarity payment that we can help to substitute that money that should have come in from Setanta? And the Premier League said, yes, we will. We will give you 1.2 million for clubs in the national division, and that's still coming in today. But we're also going to give you some additional funds to create a community funding stream. This came as a complete out of the blue. It wasn't expected, wasn't asked for, and so consequently the league then got in touch with me because of my history of working in football and funding programmes, and together we set up the funding stream that's been able to benefit the clubs. We achieved charitable status in 2012. We have a very small board of trustees, and they represent the people who have an interest in the work we do. So from the National League, we have Brian Lee, who many of you will know was the chairman of the league for some years and is now the president. He's still our chairman as well. Lord Faulkner of Worcester, and we've recently appointed a new trustee to replace Jack Pearce, because Jack Pearce's club, Bognor Regis, are now in the competition. He can't act as a trustee because he has an interest. And so we've appointed Paul Fairclough, the England Sea manager, as our new trustee who's joining us this month. The trustees we have who look after the money side of things, one of them is Dennis Lehman, who those of you who support the team from up the road who play in blue will remember from the 1970s and 80s as a player both there and at Sheffield Wednesday. He works for the Professional Footballers Association, has done so for many years, supporting community programmes. And then our other trustee from the Premier League is a guy by the name of Nick Pershard. Nick used to play for St Albans, so he understands this level of football. He's also worked for county FAs, and now he's in charge of the community programme at the Premier League and their community investment. So we work closely with two sister bodies. Those of you who know about all the money in football and don't know about the good work that goes on can have a look at these guys' websites and see what happens with some of the other positive stories that happen within football. So the Premier League Charitable Fund run a lot of grant aid programmes which community projects and foundations and trusts at clubs can apply to. So they are the principal source of funding for a lot of clubs, particularly in the EFL, and they also supply the money that comes through to us. We also work very closely with the EFL Trust, who are our sister body, and obviously we have discussions every year as we exchange clubs and talk about the various status of those charities that come down to us as we exchange clubs that go up to them. Now obviously we give both grant support and development advice. So that development advice, as you can imagine, with the range of clubs that we have in the National League, from someone like Leyton Orient joining us last season to Chippenham Town coming in at the other end, they're very different clubs, so we have to adapt our advice and support depending on who the recipient is. A little bit about our track record. As you know, there are 68 clubs in the National League. 57 of those at the moment are running projects that we're funded. We've always had a few clubs who either feel that they're not capable of doing anything yet, principally those that have come in to the North and South divisions and have a small setup, maybe with a limited staff resource or volunteers, and find it difficult to balance the two demands. We also do have some clubs in other parts of the competition who choose not to engage with us, and that's entirely up to them. I think that's very foolish personally, because they're turning down money, but what can you do? You can only offer it, and if they don't want to take it up, that's entirely up to them. But the great thing is that over the years since we've been working, since 2010, we've now funded 90 clubs and allowed them to start their community activity. And all of those clubs where we've funded have continued to deliver community activity in some way, even if they're no longer in the National League. And I think that's a testament to how important it is for clubs at this level to have some form of community activity. So we've given away £5 million in funding across that period. And you can imagine that's made a tremendous difference to those recipients, as I know it has here. And more importantly, we encourage clubs to think about, once they've started running a programme, just as this club has gone through the process, of then creating a charity to manage that project. That allows a number of things to happen. It gives you good governance. It means that the charity can be sustainable. It also protects it from whatever might happen at the club. And we have had one or two circumstances where a club might have gone into administration, but the charity is still running and in existence, and in a sense keeping alive the name of that club while the club is going through difficulties. We also have some charities where they are active in cities or towns while their club is playing elsewhere. Gloucester City are an example, where all of their community work is delivered in Gloucester while the club are playing away from that town. Charities are very important to us because those clubs who are promoted into the EFL at the end of the season must have a charity in place if they're going to receive any money from the EFL. And so this is gradually part of our development that we encourage this to happen. So I might mention some of the other things we do apart from just grant aid and support. These are pictures from our Under-11s Cup last year, where we had 4 teams go down to Wembley and played at a school outside Wembley on the day, and then on the pitch, the finals were held on the pitch before the playoff. And there you have the victorious Braintree Town, who were our winners in our inaugural season. And as Mike said, this year we're doing a girls' competition as well. We've got more clubs interested, so we're probably going to have various different regional finals. And it looks like we're going to have a North and a South finalists. So we will always have a North and South team playing in the final at Wembley. We also ran a walking football tournament last year, which was exceptionally popular. This was staged at Wembley, so unfortunately some people found it very difficult to travel. This year we're going to replicate that. We're going to look at running a tournament with more regional finals so people can take part in the tournaments locally and then perhaps have a showcase final somewhere towards the end of the season. Wealdstone were the winners of this tournament, and there they are proudly with their trophy. So we look forward to running a successful tournament this year and hope very much that Vintage Celtic will take part. Statistics for you about some of the work that we've done. So we reckon last year alone we had over 50,000 participants across the projects we funded in the National League. And of those participants, 36% of them were women and girls. And this is really important. As Mike was saying, it's very important to encourage girls particularly to take up football or indeed other sports that clubs might be running. We have a very high proportion of children and young people involved in grant-funded projects. And obviously that helps club sustainability, because we know that a lot of non-league clubs suffer from the problem of having quite an old demographic for their supporter base. It's important to encourage young people and children to be involved in that club to make sure that you've got new young supporters in the future. And the great thing, and in a sense Mike's done this bit for me already, there's a diversity of projects that we have being delivered across clubs. Some clubs, when they first start, will start with one small project to get to understand how to apply for funding, how to run the programme properly, how to see what impact that project is having. But as they grow, almost in every case, partnerships are formed with delivering organisations, and a wide range of activities end up being delivered. And that's fantastic, both for the communities and the clubs, but also to show the impact of the work that we've done. Because if we can demonstrate that impact, then we're hoping that our funders will give us more money to distribute next year. So as I said, there is a great importance in community football. Football clubs can change people's lives and motivate people using that power of football in a way that other organisations can't. Working in intervention projects with very difficult to reach groups, people like that will come to a football club for their activity when they won't go to a council office or something to do with social services. So the power of football is very important in what we do. It's great having partnerships that are successful between the club and the charity because they're mutually beneficial. And as you've seen today, you know, sponsors will want to get involved with the charity work as well as getting involved perhaps in something to do with the club. It's very important for both that you have that sustainability and good governance. I'm sure that all the work that Mike has done here has done a lot to raise the profile of the club as well as the charity and also your reputation. And that's very important because it's a struggle these days running any organisation and you need all the help you can get from partners, and having a good reputation really helps in what you do. And as I said, finally, you're increasing your supporter base, hopefully, and your volunteer base, I suspect, because that's also good for people's health and well-being to have something that they can get involved in outside of their normal day-to-day life. Being a volunteer is very important. So really, I'd just like to close by thanking you all for coming again, and also to say that without people like Mike, these projects don't work, so you're very fortunate to have him. But also you should understand that you're part of a great movement now that's happening all around the country, and we're really pleased at the Trust to see so many successful projects. And congratulations on becoming a registered charity, and we wish you all the best in the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly, Sue. If I could ask the walking footballers and the disability team to take your positions on the green stuff outside. Can you go? Massive thank you all for coming and finding out a bit about what we do at Stalybridge Celtic Foundation. Thanks to the trustees, thanks to Sue coming all the way up from London, Birmingham.
No, Stalybridge now.
Stalybridge, and to Dave from Bowler for saying some kind words on our behalf. So, last but not least, any questions? Easy ones to me, hard ones to Brian, Sue and Gerald. Mary, one of our other trustees, is at the back, so you're not escaping without taking one of our information packs. With, like I say, I have this presentation in. It's got Stalybridge correspondent. We've got some walking football leaflets. Don't be offended when you open it and think, God, he might think some 50 he's put a leaflet in for walking football. That's just anybody you might know that wants to play walking football, please pass it on. It's not an invitation for 26-year-olds or 38-year-olds to come along and play walking football. So feel free to hang around after, because we're all here. So yeah, any questions before you all depart? Ian, this is going to be a hard one, isn't it?
No, not really. In terms of getting charitable status, it's obviously a recognition of what's been done so far, and I understand the governance aspect. From your point of view, how are you looking for that to help you push on the foundation? What difference are you hoping that is going to make?
Well, what we're hoping for and what we're planning for is to attract funding from outside of the football family. Because before we were a charity, we could only claim funds from the National League Trust, the Football Foundation. So now we're a charity, we can look at other pots of funding outside of football and do different projects such as the Get Fit Challenge. The car boot sales will bring revenue in. The after school sessions, if we build that up, that will bring revenue in. So hopefully, not this season or next season, once we get back to the National League Trust, we can use that funding for a specific project rather than to fund the whole project. So that's what we're looking to be, self-financing without the National League Trust's help, and we can use that for a specific project going forward. That was easy. Any more?
So are you saying that if we don't get back in the National League Trust,
in the National League?
No, sorry. If we don't get promotion back, is that the end of story?
Hopefully not, no, because hopefully we'll have gained some more external pots of funding, and we'll have built up the schools programme, and we'll attract some more great sponsors like Bowler, and hopefully we'll, you know, if we don't get back up before the next tranche of funding expires, then we've got, you know, funds in there to carry on, hopefully. Yeah.
Can I just ask Mike, have you got the capacity to deliver what you want to do? So you've got ambitions, aspirations, have you got the capacity? I mean, you're brilliant, but you need...
Yeah, well, hopefully along the way, once we set up and identify pots of funding and projects, there'll be costs in there to bring other resources in. And where's Phil? Where's Phil Brennan gone? Oh, he's there at the back. As I work with Phil at Stockport County, we have about 17 members of staff in the community. So it's hopefully we'll get there one day, but it has to be built up slowly. So we've got no money in the pot to get, you know, extra staff in. So we have to, you know, get a few more money in the coffers before
Can I just
But we are working. We
go
are
in
working
there?
towards it.
Yeah, one of the principal reasons of becoming a registered charity is, as Mike says, it gives us opportunities to approach other funding bodies and organisations outside football. And it is the Foundation's intention, quicker rather than later, to get Mike, a colleague, a working colleague, to help him assist. Because as you can see from the work and the projects that he's already got in progress and he's completed, the guy can't do it on his own. And one of the reasons of getting you people here this afternoon, this morning, is to show you the facts of what we are doing, what Mike is doing, and to show you that we are using the money well, we're using it wisely, it's going into the community, and the return has been absolutely fantastic. The guys on the pitch, the people out there that we've done work for, that Mike's done work for, people we've introduced into the foundation. We hope to build on that so we can get your confidence, your support, generate additional funds for Mike and for any additional staff to help him to take this foundation further and more committed, if we ever can be, into the local community.
We do rely heavily on volunteers, as Celtic juniors do. Bill out there from Vintage Celtic, he takes up a lot of the workload. The Vintage Celtic kind of runs itself. And Eric, one of the walking footballers, his son plays for the disability team, so he's now volunteering to help out at leagues. Brian helps out at the monthly league with fixtures, and Gerald and Mary, Paul and Jane, they all give up their own time to, you know, volunteer the different roles to make the foundation function. So it is just me, but it's not just me. It's, you know, I can tap in, but it would be nice to have another 16 members of staff like we did. So yeah, if there's no more questions, like I say, feel free to have another brew and chat to any of the trustees, myself, feel free. But thank you all for coming again. Hopefully we can do some work with you going forward. So thank you very much. I need a volunteer to hoover.
Have I done it?